Hey guys, so today I just wanted to go over basically the birth and death of a load. So what a load looks like from basically having the capacity and booking the load to finally sending the invoice and getting them paid for it. So it's very simple. I tried to break it down into the most simple outline I could here. So let's take a look. Okay, so here's the entire outline on one page here. So if you want, you can screenshot this to kind of, understand basically all the steps. The first thing you start out with is your available capacity. So what do you have that can move a load, right? Under available capacity, we have power only first. So this is, you only have a truck. You don't know what a truck is, this will be a truck, right? You got your truck, you got your fifth wheel, you can hook to a trailer. So with your truck doing power only work, you can hook to someone else's trailer that they need to move and they will pay you for this. We'll go into van now. So van is a 53-foot dry van, 48-foot dry van. Basically a van would look something like this. So you see here, just your typical 53-foot dry van. There's 48 out there, but 99% of the loads are gonna be 53-foot. Inside here, nothing much, wood paneling, whatever. Just a box to put stuff in. Next here, we have a flatbed trailer. So you might have a flatbed trailer. Okay, so a flatbed trailer is gonna be something like this, open deck. Now there's different types where you have, step deck, there's more 48 versus 53-foot trailers on here, different ways to wrap it up, tarps, chains, but all in all, flatbed trailer, you can figure out the rest of the stuff. Open deck looks like this. Next, we have our reefer trailer. So a reefer, for anyone who doesn't know, is refrigerated. This is basically a temperature-controlled trailer that uses a diesel engine to control the temperature. And a reefer trailer looks something like this. Customers will care about the year that it is because, the older they are, the more they fail. And you can see in the front here, it has an engine, basically controls the temperature regulation, right? And there's usually a tank right down here to fill diesel, typically, anywhere from 40 to 60 to 50, 70 gallons. Now, these are the four kind of primary, capacity solutions, but as I can show you here, there are tons of different ways to supply capacity, but these are the majority that you'll find if you're an owner-operator. Okay, so now we know our capacity. Now we need to fill our truck up with something so that we can get paid. So where are we going to find the load and who are we going to do it for? Okay, so option one is working with the direct customer. So this is with no broker. If you want to find a direct customer and you're in, let's say, Vineland, New Jersey, then what I would start doing is I would go to Google Maps, not go first, and then find warehouses or things that look like warehouses, right? And then just start, reaching out to these places. So like First Choice Freezer, Aunt Kitty's Foods, Apscam, whatever, Belco Glass. You just go up to these places, you say, hey, I'm an owner-operator, or hey, I have my own truck. I'd love to pull loads for you guys. Here's my information. Dress well, look good, instill confidence. Once you hit 2,000 places, maybe one of them will give you a shot. Probably faster than that, but that is option one. Okay, option two, using a load board. The load board really everyone uses is DAT. There's other load boards, but really I would just use DAT. If I'm looking for a load, just go on load board. Let's say I'm in Vineland, New Jersey. I'm looking for a load within let's say 38 miles of Vineland. That's deadhead origin. Okay, Vineland, New Jersey to, let's say, anywhere. So, or I'll just do Vineland, New Jersey, somewhere within 450 miles. So it could send me to Ohio, it could send me to South Carolina or something, or North Carolina, probably not South Carolina. Let's say I've got a van or I got a flatbed. Just enter that in here. What day can I do it? Let's just search for today. It'll send me a bunch of loads. I'll reach out, we'll agree on a rate, and that's how you get it off the load board. So we've loaded up all of our results here. Basically, you see a list of loads here. So like Vineland to Worcester, Vineland to Pittsburgh, Vineland to Worcester again, blah, blah, blah. Other ones that are a little bit farther away, like Chester, 38 miles away, Millville, 8 miles away. And you can see some of the rates are posted. So basically you reach out, negotiate a rate, agree upon it, and then move forward. And the contact information is on here as well. So you get the phone number, email, blah, blah, blah. Get in touch with them. Okay, lastly here, you might just have something consistent with a broker that they might just reach out to you over the phone, or some guys who go over the road will just have the same exact broker. Like, okay, go to Arizona. I'm in Arizona. Okay, here's a pickup. Go here. It's kind of just, basically drawing lines through the United States. Those are really the two options. Like lines through the United States, like from Pittsburgh to Ohio, from Ohio to Texas, from Texas to here. They kind of just find you pick up, delivery. Then there's also times where they might have a consistent load for you where it's like a dedicated run or just the consistent local stuff. Okay, so now you agree on a rate. So let's say you and this lovely broker or your customer finally agreed on a rate here. Then this, if it's a broker per se, they would send you a Raycon, right? So the Raycon would have all of the load information as well as the price of the load that you agreed upon. Then you will sign it. Typically they won't sign it, but you can ask them to. So both parties should sign. You agree on the rate, you do the load, you get the information. If you have it with a direct customer, a lot of times they will not send you a rate con, especially if it's a typical often load. I found this to be 50% of the time. They usually don't send a rate con, but that's usually for the smaller companies. They don't. And you might be wondering, how could I possibly price the load? I have no idea what it costs. Well, here we can go to DAT to find out what the market rates are. In DAT, you can go to tools here, right? Tools. Then you go, let's say we want the rate from York, PA to Boston, Massachusetts. And we want that for a reefer trailer. So we can search here. So we have like the spot market rate versus the carrier contract rate. The carrier contract rate is basically what larger trucking companies will get working as a contractor, or what the brokers might get, something in between this rate. And then the spot rate is what the brokers will book it to the carrier for. So if you are pricing out this lane and you know what your expenses are, then this is sort of what you have to compete with. So the broker price is going to usually fall somewhere in the middle here, because brokers bring value by being less than trucking companies in terms of price. Okay, so we have capacity, we booked the load, we agreed on a price, we have the agreement, now we're ready to allocate the capacity. What we're gonna do is assign a trailer, truck, and a driver. We're gonna alert the customer or the broker of which truck, driver, trailer is on it. Some people don't ask, some will. You gotta do this. They might ask for tracking as well. Typically tracking, they might send you MacroPoint, Trucker Tools, Samsara, or you just provide it yourself. This is also probably on 30% of loads or 25% of loads. It depends on who you work with. Tracking requirements will usually be obviously specified in rate cons. Once that's done, all you do is just send the information to your driver. This doesn't have to be fancy. Dispatching doesn't have to be fancy. Just could be an email, could be a sheet of paper. Just make sure they have the information. They wake up on time, they're ready to go. Okay, so then executing the run. The driver, let's say they have the trailer, they would go to the pickup, get loaded, give the correct information to get loaded, head to the delivery, and get unloaded. Through this process, it's important to make sure that if you are tracking, to make sure they're tracking, and to make sure that you're communicating with whoever is demanding the communication. They might not demand that much communication, but they might. Just make sure you're on your toes with that. Then also, years ago when I started, like the first 5 loads we did, I did not get BOLs for those. So make sure you get the BOL signed. You will not get paid if you do not have the signed BOL upon completion. Make your driver send you a picture, whatever it takes. Get a signed picture of that BOL. Make sure you got every single page of that BOL, that it's all intact. Do not leave it to any circumstance to not get paid. A BOL, by the way, is a bill of lading. This is something that they will give you at the shipper to show what is in the trailer, what the product is that they loaded. And then the receiver signs it basically to confirm that they received the entire amount of the BOL. Okay, so then once you have a copy of the signed BOL, you can now send your invoice. So with almost every single invoice, what you need to send is either the invoice itself, the raycon or load tender for like a direct customer, for instance, and then finally the signed BOL. So kind of like the holy trinity of the invoice. So copy the invoice, the amount, the raycon or load tender, and the signed BOL. Okay, so if you book a load on the load board, you really want to make sure that you read that raycon, especially if you've not worked with the broker before, and that you are sending the invoice to the correct person. Typically on every raycon, there's going to be writing on who to send the invoice to, like which email to send it to, where to fax it to if that's your style. You want to make sure you send it to the correct person. Then also, if it's a broker that you maybe have not heard of before, you really want to make sure that you're following up almost every day, or maybe every other day, to make sure that your payment is getting processed, because a lot of times they'll say, oh, you had one thing wrong, so we didn't process it, and then you won't get paid for another 10 or 30 days. And then the last step here is getting paid for the load, right? So you want to get cash after you send the invoice, right? So there's a couple options. One, you can wait to get paid, so you can wait 30 days and not pay any fee. Or a lot of brokers will offer quick pay. Customers, I've never seen a customer offer quick pay. So brokers might offer quick pay. This will be, them basically ACHing you in 1 to 5 days at a 2 to 5% fee. So if you made, let's say $1,000, they'll only pay you $950 if you do the quick pay. Similar thing with the factoring company. With the factoring company, they will take 1 to 3 days to pay you after the customer is confirmed. They'll confirm with your customer that you did the load properly, that you're going to get paid for everything properly, and then they're going to send you, in trucking typically 97.5% of the total revenue. They'll keep 2.5% of a cash reserve, which you can get back later. but then they'll also charge you a 2 to 4% fee. The factoring company is going to take an all assets lien on you, so be careful. Okay, so I tried to do under 10 minutes there, but I think I fell a little bit short. But basically, those are the 7 steps of birth or death of a load to get paid. You have the capacity, find the need for the capacity on the load board or book the load, agree on a rate for the load, allocate the capacity, then you execute the run, you send an invoice for the load, and then you collect the cash. Thank you for listening, and I will make more videos on each of these topics to break them more down because I know that I went into basically zero detail on all of them. So, and I apologize for any of the old school guys for me calling the dry van just a box. So, thanks again, and talk to you soon.